Aloha and welcome to Knitted Paradise, where the needles are clicking and the yarn is squishy. My name is Lucia. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Pearl of the Pacific. Welcome to episode, 32? I sometimes forget to say the episode title. Today is July 14th. It's a Monday, and I'm outside again. It's actually quite lovely. It's been rather not hot around here the last few days, so that's been kind of nice. It rained today. I had all intentions of riding my bike into work today, and then I looked outside and it was pouring rain. I said, never mind, I'm taking the train. Luckily, we just live 4 blocks from the train, and it's super easy. Not a problem. But hopefully I'll get to ride in tomorrow, although it may rain again, so we'll see. Kind of depends on the weather. Anyway, hope you all are doing well, and let's get started. Blow the conch shell. We've got the July knit along going along, and I'm very pleased to see that people are posting things in the thread, so thank you. Which reminds me, I forgot something. I'll have to go back and get it in a minute. I thought I was so prepared. I've got my bucket of things here. It's like it'll be easy to take it out in a bucket and then I can put it in the grass and not be worried about it. But I realized I forgot one of my finished objects, so I'll go get that in a minute. But yes, the July knit along is to knit things in your favorite color. And then tell us why it's your favorite color. Because it's interesting to hear why people like certain colors. Some people are, like some person liked blues and greens because it reminded her of the ocean. Or another person said they liked a certain color because it made her happy. I don't care what the reason is, I'm just curious. So I'm really excited to see that people are knitting things in their favorite color. And it was super funny. I don't know if any of you are doing Camp Loopy this year, but Project 3 came out, which is the August project, and the challenge is to knit something in your favorite color. So if you're doing Camp Loopy, you get to knit something else in your favorite color. I don't have a yardage requirement, but they do, so anyway, I participated in Camp Loopy last year, and I really enjoyed it. But this year, with all the traveling and all the craziness that's going on, I thought, you know what, I don't think I can do it this year. I might do Project 3 because I already have the yarn for it. I have a sweater's worth of yarn that I bought last year in one of my favorite colors, so I may do that. We'll see. What else do we have here in Blow the Conch Shell? Oh, I'm curious, what do you guys want to hear about in the flora and fauna section, or even in the From Your Holly section? I have some ideas, but I'm kind of running out of ideas, so I'd really like to know, what are things that you guys are interested in hearing? Either about me, about growing up in Hawaii, or things about knitting. I know someone asked me about sock blockers, someone else asked me about socks, so I did episodes on those. I'm just, I do this for you guys, so, and partly for me, but I'd love to hear what you guys want to hear about. So there is a thread in the Ravelry group, which is Knitted Paradise Podcast, and the thread, I think, is called What Do You Want to Hear About? It's very descriptive. Very creative, but it works. And the other thing that's really exciting is that the Ravelry group, as of 20 minutes ago, has reached 99 members. That's awesome. So I've decided when we reach 100, I'm going to do a prize drawing. It will be for a pattern, a giftable pattern of $5 or less. So if you haven't joined the Ravelry group, go ahead and join. I know there are about 220 subscribers on YouTube, which is also totally awesome. So head over to Ravelry and join the group, because I'll pull from all of the participants. So whatever we have by next week, I'll pull a winner, unless we're still at 99. So, but it seems we get a couple each week, so that's kind of exciting. All right, set sail. I realized that last week I showed you my Ginny cardigan, and somehow my computer decided to freeze and cut that part out. Came back and I was wearing it, so I'm going to show it to you this week. I did finish it right before we left for Prague, and I was able to take it, and I actually wore it a fair amount. It was either really hot or slightly chilly. It never really got cold. There was one day it was kind of cold, but I was also wearing shorts. So, anyway. But it was kind of nice to wear it. But here it is. Ta-da! So here's the back. I literally blocked it, I think, the day we left. So, here it is. I have not put buttons on. I did get buttons. I did show those last week. I got those in Prague. So it's got no buttons. But I wore it today to work. It actually works quite well without the buttons. So I may wait. The buttonholes are tiny. Tiny, tiny, tiny. I don't know why. Because I used the same method I used on my other cardigan and those turned out fine. So I do have to rip them out because the buttons I bought are not going to fit in these tiny little buttonholes. That's just ridiculous. So anyway, so there's inside. It is, getting a little windy. It's out of Malabrigo Rastita in Natural, and that is a single ply DK yarn. It's a light DK. It's more of kind of a sport. So it is pilling a little bit. I don't know if you can see that at all. This is kind of the underarm. You can kind of see it a little bit. Anyway, it is pilling just a slight bit. Not as much as I feared, which is nice. And I have worn it quite a bit. But I do have one of those like lint shaver pill remover things, so I'm just going to put this on. I am going to do the pill remover dealy. Yes, it fits quite well. And I will get another one of those grosgrain ribbon things to sew on the back here when I do the buttons. Ta-da. But it works quite well without the buttons, so. And I made this one a little longer than my last cardigan, which is nice. I like my sweaters long. So, alright, what else? Oh, I finished something else. Finished two other things, and of course one of them I left in the apartment. So maybe I'll add on a thing in the middle once I go back inside. But I finished these. I started and finished this week. I'll put them on. They're a pair of fingerless mitts. They are the Accelerating Stripes Fingerless Gloves by Church Mouse Yarns and Tees. And I made them out of Leading Men Fiber Arts Showcase, which is one of their sock bases, and Sprightly Endeavors, which is the green, and Sandcastle, which is the tan. And if you'll remember back in January, I knit my Andrea's shawl out of these two yarns, and I had a ton left over. There's like 490 yards in each of the skeins. It's insane. So I mostly followed the pattern. They were supposed to be like really long, and I don't like my gloves that long. This is even long for me. But I like to have them, enough into the sleeve of my coat that the wind can't come in. Anyway, what I'm trying to tell you here is that I took out some repeats of the striping. So you start with, it's a free pattern, so I can tell you this. You start with 5-row color changes, and then you go down to 4, and then, it's accelerating stripes. So they're not super contrasting colors, and I'm okay with that. And also, at the top, you're supposed to do some more single, and then do like 1 row of purling, and then the bind off. I decided to do some garter stitch, so on the inside it's also, I did some garter stitch up at the top so that I could keep it from rolling a little bit. So, and also I can flip them down if I want it, if they're getting in my way. But I think that's the only really modification I made. I did the first one I knit. I put all of the thumb stitches on a holder, on some waste yarn, and then knit this and finished it up, and then knit the thumb, and realized that I had way too many stitches on the thumb, and not really enough stitches over here. I ended up doing a bunch of increases right here. I mean, not a bunch, like 4 or something, but it meant it pinched right here. So on the second one, what I did is I grabbed, I think, 4 of the thumb gusset stitches and included them in the main hand. And then also, I think I increased 2 stitches, so 1 on the front, 1 on the back, basically. And that worked out much better. And so I ended up ripping out the first one, I don't know which one it is, and redoing it that way, because that fit much better. I was just going to live with it, and then I was like, you know what, that's going to annoy the heck out of me, so why don't I fix it? So, ta-da! So those are done, and they match my Andrea shawl, because that also has some striping in it. And I still have a butt ton of yarn left over, as you can see. So I plan to knit a matching hat. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do. I wanted to do something similar to the Jekyll and Hyde hat that has lace on the inside and striping on the outside. I like that concept, but I don't like, I want the lace to match the lace on the shawl, or be similar, which it's mostly made of leaves, so I might find a leafy hat and do it that way, and just steal the idea from the Jekyll and Hyde hat, and then the leafy lace from another one, so that they kind of go. My idea is to make a set, because what I've realized is I have all of these individual lovely knit items, but I have a hard time wearing them together because they're so different. So because I had so much yarn left with this one, I was like, perfect, I'll make a set. So I'll have mittens, or gloves rather. I mean, they're not really mittens or gloves, they're mitts. Okay, so I'll have mitts, and I'll have a scarf shawl thing, and I'll have a hat, and that'll all go together, so that'll be really nice. And then I knit a while ago I think it's called a Little Scallops hat. It's got purple mine has purple on the edge and then a white top, because I have a purple coat that I bought for my wedding, actually, because our colors were blue and purple, and I got married in the winter. And I have a nice white, or cream, I mean, it's Malabrigo natural, so it's the same color as this. The hat is, and the scarf is the same color that actually my friend gave me for being in her wedding. So it's like the wedding set. Anyway, but I knit that hat to match the coat and scarf set that I tend to wear that scarf with that coat just because it looks nice, the contrast. And so I want to knit I found some mitts, similar mitts with the kind of scalloped pattern along the edge, so I'm going to make myself some of those. And I do have some of that yarn left over, because I knit 2 hats. The first one was way too small for me, and I've never woven in the ends or blocked it, so I'm just going to rip that out and use that yarn to make some mitts for me to match the hat. So that's kind of my future knitting, is to get these sets together in order for the winter, so that when winter and fall come, I'll have sets of yarn or sets of knitted items to wear. That'll make me happy. I like to match things, like match things. I tend, when I get dressed in the morning, I tend to just pick a color, and everything I wear is that color for the most part. I'll pick a purple shirt, and then I'll pick a purple undershirt, and then sometimes I'll go with the purple sweater as well. I'll put purple socks on, or, I don't have purple pants, so I wear like neutral pants with it, but I tend to just, or I'll wear a purple scarf or something, or a neutral scarf or whatever. So I tend to be matchy about things. So I like having a matching set of knit items. Anyway, enough about that. Those are the items I finished. Let's get to what's on the island. It's not super exciting, but I do have something. I cast this on last night, and I've worked on it today a little bit. It's the Brush Creek Cowlette by Karina Spencer. I got a little worried when I pulled that out of my bag and then realized that was an extra. If you remember, I have knit this before. This is out of Knitcircus in the Thrilling base in Cranberry Plum, which is a gradient. Gosh, I've just got these things all over. And it's a nice purple to like pinky red in the middle there. It is not focusing whatsoever. Anyway, this is it so far. I have just joined it in the round, so you can see. As many people have stated in their project notes, the head opening in the original pattern is really small. It's supposed to be 19 inches. Most hats I know on Ravelry are at least 22. So 19 inches seems really small for an adult head. So what I did last time is I knit some more repeats of the, like this part, section 1. It's in 3 sections. I knit some more repeats of section 1 and then joined it in the round. What I did this time, because I had so many problems with that because my stitch count was so different than the pattern. So what I did this time is I continued to knit in pattern. I just didn't join it in the round. So I just continued. So I'm halfway through section 2 now, and then I joined it in the round. I also did the modification of doing yarn overs on the bind, or the edge, top edge, so it gives it a little more stretch, and I think that'll definitely fit over someone's head. This is not for me, this is for a friend, so I wanted to make sure it would fit over her head. She picked out the yarn, because as you know, these are not my favorite colors, but she loves it, so that's that. Got all these extra. These are I'm doing it actually also a size up from what it calls for. It calls for a size 5. I'm doing it on my size 6 Addy Turbos, and which I love. I'm not someone who is really into the super sharp needle points, so I'm really okay with these. They're not really dull, they're just not really sharp. Anyway, I pulled out all the cords in case I wanted to put it on a larger cord, but I don't think I'm going to, so I'll probably put those cords back in my needle storage case thing. So that's what I've gotten so far. So that will probably be finished by next week. It's coming along really quickly. And also it's like the only thing on my needles at the moment. The socks are still kind of in the naughty closet, or the resting in the hammock, because I don't really know what I'm going to do with them yet. I had an idea, but I don't know if it's going to work. So they're going to need some sock surgery, rather some unknitting and reknitting, whatever I plan to do with them. So I've kind of put them on hold until I decide what I'm going to do, and then continue on from there. And I think that's it. This is kind of the end of my batch. As you remember, I knit in batches. I tend to finish a lot of things, so I'm kind of on a finishing spree. Although often during my finishing sprees, I cast on some new things, usually some quick things, to just give me some satisfactory knits. I mean, that's kind of what the knits were. Although they were slightly unsatisfactory after the first one, but then I fixed it. There were a million ends to weave in on the second one, or the first one, because I had to rip it out and knit it differently, and so the yarn worked out a little differently, but it's okay. That's that. I still have to block them, but they're mitts. I don't really know if they need blocking. We'll see. And the other thing I finished, which is what's up in my sock drawer already, because I finished them the day after I recorded, which is why I've mostly forgotten about them, is my Tulip Socks. As you notice, they're not on the needles anymore. So I actually finished them 2 months late. That's okay. I finished them on my birthday, so that was really exciting. It's like, birthday socks for me! So, I'm really excited about those. I might have to wear those this week, because it's getting cooler. It's supposed to be a high of 70 tomorrow, and a low of like 50 something, which is kind of weird. I did do them top down, which is not my favorite, mainly because I hate the way that my toes look. Because maybe I just don't do them right, but they turn out really weird. I accidentally continued the pattern into the toe. It looks fine and it feels fine. I'm not really concerned about it. So the tulip pattern goes all the way into the toe on mine. I don't think it's supposed to, but whatever. Design feature. I like it, the way it looks. So I'll show them once I go back inside. I'll insert a little thing right here that shows them. They look fantastic. Hi, so as promised, I'm going to show you my tulip socks. So here they are. Done! Ooh, as I almost hit myself in the face. My sock blockers. There they are. And as you can see, the pattern does go into the toe. I'll take them off the blockers and show you the toe. I think it blocked out all right. I don't like the way the toes look. Maybe it's the way I Kitchener things. There's always these like nubbly bits right here. But I did find a nice way to make the pattern go into the toe. Yeah, you can kind of see there. But they just kind of turn out a little funky. They feel fine on, for the most part, so I'm not too terribly concerned, but I realized there's another reason why I like doing toe-up socks. Just personal preference. I like knitting toe-up socks, but also I like the way the toes fit on toe-up socks. So maybe some other time I'll figure out, if I have to do another top-down sock, I'll figure out a way to like do the grafting here instead of here. So knit the toe up and then graft them here or something. Because my grafting's not so bad. The actual graft is not. It looks fine on the edge of the toe, but it's just those ends that are annoying. So, but I love the tulips. I mean, here they are, right side up. I love the way they look. Ta-da! Maybe it'll focus. Cover my face. And this is another crafty girl in the Lost Souls. And again, it's more green than it's appearing on the screen. But this fits in the July knit along because this is one of my favorite colors. And I realized this because I went on Etsy, because I haven't bought yarn in a really long time, I realized. And so I was like, I really want some yarn. So, of course, what I do, I went to Etsy and I was looking around at some of my favorite stores and I started favoriting a bunch of yarn. And then I went to look at my favorites page and it was pretty much all this color. Like all of it. I favorited like 8 yarns and they were pretty much all this color. I was like, I think I just found my new favorite color. I've always been drawn to this. It's kind of a sea foamy, sea glass. It's not turquoise. Because I don't mind turquoise, but it's not it. It's got a little more green to it. It's, I guess, a sea glass is how I would describe it. But anyway, I also really enjoy mint green and yellow. Those are kind of my favorites at the moment. But I hope you enjoyed my little sock segment, and now back to the regular scheduled program. Okay, now that you've seen the socks, let's continue on. Oh, we're only 20 minutes in. I got something from the mainland as a birthday present from my brother. He bought me a scale. I'm going to show you the box. I have used it. This is it. He called me, I think, on my birthday, and we chatted for a bit. He's like, what do you want? I don't know what you want. I'm like, well, I do need a scale. He's like, okay, I'm on it. So he went out and bought me the scale, which is fan-flippin-tastic. I really like it. So it goes in the box like this. And you take it out, and you can put this on top, or you can use it without. I've been doing both. Sometimes I do, I figured if you wanted to weigh a project to see how much yarn it took, you could put it in here, and then you don't have to worry about it spilling over. It's nice, but if you're just weighing, yarn cakes, you don't really need the bowl. And it does have on the bottom, you can switch it from grams to ounces, so that's really nifty. I forgot to tell him that I needed things in grams, and he found it anyway because he's awesome like that. It comes with the batteries, always important, and it's just really simple. You just turn it on, and that will, tear it or tar it, however you say that, and make it 0 basically with nothing on it. But if you need to tar it, there's a tar button right there. Like if you decide you want to put this on, or if you put something on and then you want to add something. And I love that it fits in its box like this, or you could just store it like this, even without the box. But I just think that's really nifty that it fits in the thing. So that's my from the mainland. Yay! Yay, brother. He always gets me awesome stuff. I have an awesome brother. And he's my only sibling, so I guess it's your from the holiday section from this week, is I have one younger brother. He's 3.5 years younger than me. It's not really 3.5, it's 3 and 2 months, because his birthday's in September. So, but he's pretty awesome. He lives in California right now, and he's cool. I like him. We get along really well. We've always gotten along. We never really had the sibling rivalry thing, which was kind of nice. I think that's it for knitting stuff. I do have a book review, not knitting related. So if you don't, I'll show you the book. And if you're not interested, I will see you next week. If you are interested, stick around. Basically, if you're a Doctor Who fan and you like to read, stick around. Because this is one of the books that I bought in Florida. If you remember, I went to Books A Million in Florida, which is where my brother-in-law lives and works. He doesn't live in the store, he lives in Florida, and he works at the store. And so we went to visit his store, and I got 5 out of the 11 of these books. Anyway, this is the first Doctor book, and I read it a while ago. I read it back in March, and I forgot to tell you guys about it because someone had asked to let you guys know how they were. And so I read it, and it is quite good. I really enjoyed it. The author did a really good job of representing the first Doctor. I know that's hard when you have different people writing for the same character. It can be challenging to represent that character in a way that people recognize, especially when he's so well known as a character. And I found myself reading this and saying, oh yeah, the first Doctor would totally do that. Or, he had a couple instances of him grabbing his jacket, which is one of his signature things that he does. So that was kind of fun. And the companions in it are Polly and Ben, which are not companions I'm terribly familiar with, but I thought they were very well written. I got to know them through this book, and I assume if he can write the first Doctor that well, then he can write them very well. And it's very intriguing and very well done. I thought. I'm not the best critic ever. But it is very interesting. You know, you can kind of, I mean, if you've watched Doctor Who enough, you can kind of imagine this all happening. I tend to like imagining, and I think most people do, you know, imagining visually how this would look on the TV, you know, as it's happening. Just because that's the way I'm familiar with these characters is on the TV. So I can picture them doing these things. And that's really fun. I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, I think it's very well written. There's a really interesting section toward the end of it when all of the characters are kind of connected mentally. I won't really tell you more than that. So they can kind of hear and see each other's thoughts. And there's part of it where you have to, the way it works is you have to jump pages, actually, like lots of pages sometimes, to different people's perspective, and sometimes it's the same event but from 2 different people's perspective, or 3 different people's perspective, depending on how many people are in that group. It's very interesting and very well done, actually, I thought. It could have been very confusing the way it was done, just because there's so much jumping, but it's weird because at the end it says, you know, next you should jump to, you know, this page and read this person or this number or whatever. And I thought, oh my gosh, how am I going to keep track if I've read them all? But if you just pick one, here, let me find one. So it says, like at the end, it says, to witness these events from Shade's viewpoint, select section 21 on this page. To switch to Hot's point or viewpoint, select section 9 on page whatever. So you have an option of picking one or the other. And I found that if you just pick one and you go through, you actually do end up reading them all. I don't think there was any that I skipped. I have a very good memory of, you know, which ones I've read. I have very good memory in terms of numbers and things like that. And I found that I actually didn't end up skipping any, which is something that I was afraid of. And at first I thought, oh, I'll just go read them all straight through. And that was more confusing than actually following the directions to skip around. As confusing as it seems to skip around, do it. It's really cool. It really added to the experience. As if you were, you know, like on a computer terminal trying to watch these things after the fact or whatever. But, you know, select this or click there or whatever. And I thought it was really well done. So it's 10 Little Aliens by Stephen Cole. And this was the 50th anniversary special edition cover. I don't think the story is different. But the author did add another foreword, or an introduction rather, not really forward. And right now I'm reading the 10th Doctor's one, which is what made me think of actually doing this book review. So when I'm done with that, I will talk about it. But I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it was helpful. I can talk more about the books that I read, or the books that I bought in Florida as I read them, or any other books that I read, for that matter. I do enjoy reading. It's nice to, I wish I could figure out a way to hold the book and knit, because I don't have a Kindle or an iPad or anything. I prefer having an actual book to read. That's just my preference. So often at lunchtime at work, I'll use my phone to keep the pages open while I knit and read, and then flip the page. Or today I held the book and I ate my sandwich, and then after I was done eating, and then I put the book down and knit for a little while. So I find ways of knitting and reading. Or sometimes it's nice to just read before bed instead of having to concentrate on knitting. So that's nice too. Alright, well, it's getting chilly. Not super chilly, but it is 8 o'clock here, which is kind of weird. Another fact about Hawaii is that the sunset doesn't really change very much, which is one of the reasons that Hawaii does not do daylight savings. It probably moves maximum an hour. Like the earliest it is 6 and the latest it is 7. I mean, that's a generalization, but it's about that. So the fact that it's still light out and it's 8 p.m. is a little weird. It's hard for me still to figure out what time of day it is. I enjoy the fact that it's light this late, and also the fact that it's light when I get up in the morning. I am an early riser, but I also don't like getting up when it's dark. So with that, I will let you go and have a great week, and I will see you soon. Bye!